A tragic house fire takes the life of a young single mother.
It was initially written up as an accidental house fire. As far as he was concerned, that was the way he was going to treat the case.
But do the experts have it all wrong?
He said, this is not an accidental. This was intentionally set.
Accident or murder? How did Sheila Deviney die and why? A decorated veteran and hometown boy turned private investigator leads the charge for justice.
They were talking to witnesses, but they stopped.
Why do you think it stopped?
And people were scared to really say much more.
Scared of what?
Scared of the person who did it.
Sheila Deviney, a small-town Oklahoma girl in a fairy tale romance. A cheerleader married to her childhood sweetheart and football star, Tyson Hendricks. Her parents, Susan and Dave Deviney, remember watching each chapter of Tyson and Sheila's love story grow.
And said, do you remember what I promised when we were children? And the next thing we knew, she was wearing Tyson's class ring.
A dream shattered by divorce years later. Sheila remarried, but that ended in divorce too. Now she was living across the way from her parents in a small home with 2 young kids, slowly putting her life back together.
Sheila was a good mother to him.
And she was going to college. She had just got her degree from Murray State.
But on a freezing January morning, Sheila's mom, a junior high school teacher, is at work and her husband Dave is on the road when they get alarming news from a family friend.
So she called the school and told them that my daughter's house was on fire and that nobody could find her. And so I immediately left. I called school because I was worried that the children were there with her. And the school told me that they were there and they were fine.
Nobody could find Sheila, so we're all on the phone calling her. No one could get a response out of her.
The family rushes to her place only to find it engulfed in smoke and firefighters on the scene.
I met the Maysville policeman and I said, have they found Sheila? And with tears in his eyes, he looked at me and said, I don't have that information.
The house is still smoldering, but that doesn't keep Dave Deviney from finding a way inside. He is determined to find his daughter.
I couldn't see the floor. There was too much smoke and debris, and I was just sliding my feet through it because I figured I would touch her. The refrigerator was on fire, and I knew, it's got Freon in it and everything, and I was afraid there could be an explosion.
His son runs in after him.
Said, Dad, get out.
And Mike grabbed you on the shoulder and pulled you out.
Thankfully, Sheila's children were all in school when the fire started. But as the smoke clears, firefighters make a terrible discovery on the kitchen floor. It's the body of Sheila Deviney, burnt beyond recognition.
Dave went in shock and they had to come and get me because for some reason I was real strong that day. And so I told him, I said, I don't know why I'm strong right now, and you're not, but you know me. And you know my weaknesses, I will go down. And I said, I'll get us through this, but you're gonna have to help me get through it. And he looked at me and he held his hand out and we shook and then we sealed it with a kiss. And that's how we get through it every day.
Susan wonders if a propane heater might have somehow triggered the inferno that killed their daughter.
She had one propane heater in her living room and they had all slept in there because she had the rest of the house closed off because she couldn't afford all the utilities.
In the aftermath of the fatal blaze, Dave meets the fire marshal, Joanne Sellers, at the scene.
She walked me through the house and was explaining to me how she thought the fire had started on the north end and blew through the south. Her kitchen stove range there had a pan that had been melted on it.
According to the fire marshal's report, the fire originated on the kitchen stove and the front left burner was left on with the pot on top of it, concluding this appears to be an accidental fire. But there is something about this tragedy that keeps eating at the family. For one thing, they say there is the mysterious last phone call that Sheila ever made to a friend shortly before the fire started.
What did the friend say Sheila told her?
She said, oh, I've got to go. My special friend is here.
A special friend?
any idea who this special friend is?
I don't. I know it was probably a male, but other than that, I don't know.
And then a revelation that stuns family members to their core. Dave happens to be at the scene when an inspector from the propane company stops by to make his report on the fire.
And I told him, I said, well, the fire marshal wrote it up as an accidental house fire. I just wonder if you felt that way. And he just stopped and turned around and looked at me and he says, come with me.
And what Dave hears changes everything he has been officially told about the horrifying death of his daughter.
And he opened the front door and that propane heater, and he said, that heater will not burn like that. He said there was an accelerant thrown on that. And he walked in the kitchen where Sheila's body and the range were. He said this was set afire. And he walked me back to the bathroom back, which had no heat source in it, and it's gutted. And he said there was a fire started right here. And he said this is not an accidental. This was intentionally set.
Next, the family hears another story that makes their blood run cold. Sheila was afraid someone wanted her dead.
She told me in the hot tub, he's gonna kill me.
Reports from the medical examiner and the coroner are in, and they say the fire is far from accidental. They say it's a homicide.